Hi chemistry students, welcome to Unit 2, Atomic Structure. Today we're going to be working with atomic symbols. So this one should be a review for you guys, so we're going to go through it kind of quickly. The first thing is the size of an atom. Atoms are obviously very, very small, so that's 7 zeros out in front of this, super tiny. We're never going to ask you guys to regurgitate that number. We just want you to know that atoms are super small, microscopic. We don't see them with our naked eye. But we are going to say that atoms are made up of subatomic particles, which means smaller than an atom. So what is an atom made of? Of course, there are 3 subatomic particles, the proton, the neutron, and the electron. We want you guys to know 3 things about each of these, and these were reviewed with you guys in physical science as well as in biology. So mass, charge, and location. For a proton, we're going to say the mass is going to be 1 AMU. You might remember that AMU stands for atomic mass unit. Instead of going through and memorizing the super tiny number of the mass of a proton, we make it simple and just say 1 AMU. The charge of a proton is going to be positive, and oftentimes you're going to see us abbreviate it as P+ to show that it has a positive charge. And we are going to find protons inside the nucleus. Neutrons are going to also have the same mass as a proton, so it's also going to have 1 AMU. We say it as no charge, or oftentimes we say neutral with that, and we abbreviate that as an N with a 0, and they're going to be found inside the nucleus as well. Notice neutron is neutral in the nucleus, so keep those sounds all together: neutron, neutral, nucleus. The last one, and kind of the oddball of everyone, is the electron. The electron, we're going to say, has a mass of 0 AMU. It's super tiny. It's about 1/1000th of an AMU, just too small to actually capture. You're going to notice that it has a negative charge, so oftentimes we abbreviate that as an E with a negative sign to show that charge, and this one is going to be outside the nucleus. So those are our 3 subatomic particles, 2 inside the nucleus. They both have mass. And then 1 outside the nucleus that does not have mass. As we were just talking about on the previous slide, AMU stands for atomic mass unit. So atomic mass unit is going to be an AMU. We are simply just going to use 1 AMU for a proton, 1 AMU for an electron. The actual number that you can see here is 1.7 times 10 to the negative 24th gram. That's super tiny. That's like putting 23 zeros in front and then putting a decimal place all the way in the beginning. Very, very small. So instead, we always list things as 1 AMU, and that would be the proton and the neutron. The other thing that we're going to start looking at now is the atomic number. So this is the number of protons, oops, helps if I have the highlighter, protons in the nucleus. So atomic number tells us protons. If you were looking at a periodic table, the number up at the very top, sometimes it might be in a corner, but either way, it's going to be in the top. That is our atomic number of protons. Now what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to write out our chemical symbols in the proper way. So here what you see is a big X. That's just representing my chemical symbol. There is no X on the periodic table. That's just a placeholder for me. And then what we're going to see in the lower left-hand corner is where we're going to put the atomic number, or the number of protons. Remember, that is the same thing. Atomic number is the number of protons. So that's how we're going to start setting up our symbol. So what I have here is I went ahead and I put in a symbol. So you can see my symbol is Cu, or copper. Up here is what I would see on a periodic table. So I can tell that my atomic number is way up on top, 29. So I'm going to record 29 in the lower left-hand corner because this tells me atomic number, or number of protons. But what would happen if instead I wrote 30? If I change the number of protons, do I still have copper? Well, if I go and I change the number of protons, Well, I look on my periodic table and 30 is a different element. So now I have zinc. So that's an important thing to remember, is if you change the number of protons, it turns into a new element. What that tells us are protons determine identity. So no two elements can have the same identity, so no two elements have the same number of protons. Here what we have is our next vocab term, and this is what we call our mass number. So this is going to be a protons plus our neutrons in the nucleus, and the other important thing here is this is going to be the rounded number. So if you notice on your periodic table, when you look at the mass for lithium, it's not exactly 7, it's 6.9 something, so we're going to round that up to 7. A good way of remembering some things dealing with mass number and atomic number, how to keep them separated, is something called ape-man. This is what I was taught when I was in chemistry. So ape and man each stand for something. The ape stands for atomic number, is equal to the protons or electrons if it's neutral. We'll talk about what that means in a little while. So atomic number always tells us protons, right? And the man part of ape-man is mass number equals atomic number plus neutrons, or the other way of going about it is saying mass number minus atomic number equals number of neutrons. So that's another way of how we can calculate the neutrons in here. So ape-man can be helpful to keep those things straight. So as we continue to go and we create our symbol, again, in the middle, what we're going to have is the chemical symbol. Okay. Then we're going to have our atomic number, which is the number of protons in the lower left-hand corner. And then in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to be putting our mass number, which is the protons plus the neutrons, or everything in nucleus. Okay. All right, so what I see here is I have my chemical symbol. I can see it's Cu, or copper. And then I've also provided you guys what you would see from the periodic table. So what I want to do is I want to start recording the proper things here. So the first thing I want to record always is going to be the atomic number. And of course that goes in the bottom left-hand corner. And I get that from the top on the periodic table. So I know that value is 29. The second thing I want to do is I want to put in the mass number. And remember, the mass number is what we take from the bottom, but we round it. So in this case, it says 63.5. We'd round that up to 64. So that's how we would get our atomic number and then our mass number. Sometimes what you're going to see is you're going to see your symbol, you're going to have the correct number of protons, but when you look at your mass, that's going to be a little bit weird. In this case, it doesn't match the number that we have with our symbol. So this is what we consider to be an isotope. It has a different number, or it has a different mass than normal, and we'll explain why that is. But there are lots of isotopes that exist. So there's also a lazy chemist way of writing these mass numbers, because sometimes there are multiple types of the same atom. So for example, we have copper 63 and we also have copper 65. So sometimes what we can do, because we're really lazy, is we can just go ahead and write the symbol dash mass. So symbol dash mass. And how we say that is copper 63, copper 65. So that's the lazy chemist way as well. That brings us to a few more of our vocab terms that we need to know. Our first one is isotope. It means the same element, meaning the same number of protons, but it has a different mass than normal, so a different number of neutrons. So what we saw previously we had copper 63. We also had copper 65. we know that both of them have the same number of protons, and that was 29, and then each one is going to have a slightly different number of neutrons. So in this case, copper 65 is going to have 2 extra neutrons than copper 63. That also brings us to the term of atomic mass, and this is found on the periodic table. This is not the rounded mass that we need, so why are there decimals? Well, the reason why there's decimals with an atomic mass is because this is the weighted average of the mass numbers for all isotopes of that particular element. So here I have 2 examples. Again, we're going back to our copper 63 and our copper 65. When we look at copper 63, that's going to make up nearly 70% of all the copper that is found in the world. And then copper 65 only makes up about 31% of that amount. So what scientists have to do is put that into a mathematical equation and figure out the atomic mass, or the average mass of all copper on Earth. So to do that, all we have to do is we're going to take the mass multiplied by the percentage of how often it's there. Notice that we put it in decimal form, so all we did was just move that decimal 2 to the left. And then we're going to add the other ones to it. So we have, again, our mass, and then we have our percentage in decimal form. So we're going to take 63 times 0.6917, put that in parentheses in our calculators, plus 65 times 0.3083. And what we end up with is an atomic mass, which is an average of 63.61 AMU. So our last vocab term that I want to go over is the ion. An ion is a charged atom because it either gained or lost electrons. So you guys can practice with these symbols. Notice it has the mass, the charge, and then the atomic number down here with the PHET. Just Google PHET and then go to build an atom. So finally, this is what our finished symbol is going to look like. We're going to have our chemical symbol in the middle. We're going to have our atomic number or number of protons in the lower left-hand corner, our mass number or our protons and our neutrons in our upper left-hand corner, and the last one, which is our newest, is going to be our charge, and this is to figure out, is it an ion, by taking the protons minus the electrons. So if we end up with a negative, it gained electrons. If positive, it lost electrons. All right, so we're going to do this one together. What we want to be able to do is, if we have all these symbols together, we want to be able to identify what each of these subatomic particles is going to be, the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons. So first, to figure out our protons, remember that comes right from the bottom, the atomic number, so we're just going to record that as 29. To figure out the neutrons, we're going to have to use the mass number. So if you remember back to that ape man, we take mass number minus atomic number equals number of neutrons. So we're going to take our mass number of 65 minus our atomic number of 29, and that's going to equal 36. And then if you look up in our right-hand corner, we look at our charge. In this case, it's telling us that the charge is 0. So if 0, protons equal electrons. So that means that this is going to be 29. I'd like you guys to give this one a try, so please pause, and once you're ready, go ahead and press play again. So for this one, the protons should be easy. They should be the same. We again have 29. That is from our atomic number. Our neutrons should also be pretty easy. Remember, we take our mass number minus our atomic number equals our number of neutrons. So that's how we get 36. And this time we get this positive 2. Remember previously I said if positive, it lost electrons. Notice I do E negative because they're negative electrons. So we know that there are 2 less electrons than normal. So 29 minus 2 is 27. Go ahead and give this last one a try. So what you should get is 29 protons. We should still be getting 36. 65 minus 29 is equal to 36 neutrons. And then electrons, I know that I have 1 more electron than I do protons. So if I have 29 protons, 1 more is 30. Because remember, if it's negative, gained electrons. So let us know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great day.